Let's face it, there's plenty of cities human beings should really steer clear of for a bunch of different reasons. Crime, poverty, lack of jobs, cost of living, real estate prices, to name a few. There are a handful of reasons for this: economy, policy, budget shortfalls, and population density. Population density being the biggest problem. More people always means more problems. It isn't just policies of the party running the city, like people that are obsessed with politics like to say. 96% of all US cities are Democrat controlled, but the few red cities have the same frickin' problems. Today we look at 10 cities that are losing people so fast that that biggest problem, population density, might not be a problem much longer. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, St. Louis. St. Louis, the city that gave us toasted ravioli and the thrill of navigating downtown without hitting potholes. I was just there last year and oh man, are those roads in rough shape. New Orleans is the only one I think is worse. But it turns out even toasted ravioli couldn't keep almost 9,000 people from saying, "I'm out of here" to St. Louis. Maybe it's the weather, maybe it's the roads, maybe it's the economy, or maybe it's the fact that the local sports teams keep missing the playoffs. Whatever it is, St. Louis is basically a Midwest escape room right now, and folks are solving this puzzle at record speed. Now, this has been going on a very long time. The last time they had a positive census was 1950. In 2010, they lost about 8.3% of their population. In 2020, they lost 5.5% of their population. Between 2021 and 2023, they lost an additional 6.6, and it's picking up steam. In 2024, St. Louis population shrank by 8,400 residents. Number 9, Cleveland, Ohio. You know Cleveland, Ohio, the place where your hopes and dreams go to die? Yes, the city of rock and roll where winters are eternal and optimism is a rumor. Almost 10,000 people decided they were done with the lake effect and the constant feeling of, we're getting as bad as Detroit. And if you've ever been to Detroit, you know that's saying something. Maybe they got sick of pretending the Browns will ever win a Super Bowl, or maybe they got tired of the poverty, the crime, and everything else. It's gotten so bad, their beloved Browns are trying to move to the suburbs because downtown has reached a level of suckage you'd think Quentin Tarantino and Stephen King are doing a city planning collaboration. In 2024, their population loss was 9,200 people. Number 8, New Orleans. Yes, we talked about New Orleans earlier. Their roads are terrible. Their crime is through the roof. The entire city smells like urine or swamp gas, one or the other, sometimes both. And if you can't imagine that smell, imagine going to an outhouse at a beer festival that has a candle in it that simply says ass. But apparently not even Mardi Gras can convince folks to stick around. Around 10,000 residents bid adieu to the Big Easy. And it seems even the allure of jazz and Mardi Gras beads can't outweigh the fear of hurricanes and the feeling of humidity. It's like living in a sauna that occasionally floods and has alligators. Sure, the food is amazing, but how many po' boys can you eat while your basement fills with water? In 2024, the population dropped in New Orleans by 10,000 residents. Number 7, Detroit, Michigan. Yes, Detroit would probably be further up this list, but they're kind of running out of people to leave. After gaining population since 1830, they stopped gaining in 1960, and they haven't turned that trend around yet. In 4 of those decades, they've lost double digits, with losing 25% of their population in 2010, and they're still losing. Not that much, but they're still going down. Detroit, the city that's been rebuilding since forever, has seen a drop in their population by over 11,000 residents. It seems Motown's revival is still a work in progress. Sure, the art scene is great, but you could only Instagram so many murals before you start wondering why the streetlights don't work. And don't get me started on the potholes. They're almost as bad as New Orleans and Detroit because they have budget shortfalls and they can't keep up with their infrastructure. Now, to be fair, their downtown has turned it around, and it's starting right now to spread out to some of the neighborhoods, which is great. But they still have a whole bunch of neighborhoods that could be the focal point of the next Escape from New York type movie. And if you're too young to know what that reference is, go back and look at it. It's a great movie. I'm sure it's on Netflix or something. In 2024, the population loss in Detroit was 11,400 residents. We'll keep going after a brief message from today's sponsor, Aura. If you don't know, I'm very into privacy and security. I mean, I'm doing this video from a bomb shelter, but I also worry about my privacy on the internet. And that's where today's sponsor comes in. Aura. I'm on the internet a lot and I need to know who's got my information and who doesn't. I mean, if you do a quick Google search, you'll find out who has your information. There are these people online called data brokers, and they sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who wants to target you. This is how they make their living, so you know they're pretty good at it and they keep getting better. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, and your relatives. It's all out there. And that's why I've been using Aura. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits an opt-out request for me. Clearing this information will help with spam and lowering the risk of someone getting your information they need to hack into your online life. Hackers can get into your bank accounts, your social media accounts, and get a hold of other sensitive information. I get other features like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental control, identity theft insurance, and more without downloading several different apps. It's very easy to set up, and best of all, I get everything at one affordable price. Aura also does so much to protect me and my family from online threats that I can't see. You may have one or two of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. I value my privacy and I value yours, so go to aura.com/Briggs to start your 2-week free trial. There's a link below in the description area. That's aura.com/Briggs to get started. Now back to the video. Number 6, Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore, where crab cakes and chaos reign supreme. It turns out not everyone wants to live in a perpetual setting of a gritty HBO drama. With a population decline of over 13,000 residents, Charm City is clearly losing its charm. Maybe it's the crime, maybe it's the traffic, or maybe it's just one guy on the inner harbor yelling about the end of days. Either way, folks are packing up and be more and heading out. There's so many different things going on in Baltimore that drive people out. I mean, the crime rate and the murder rate is always so high. They're like 1 or 2 almost every single year, it seems like. And the joke about the gritty HBO drama, if you've never seen the HBO show The Wire, it's based on Baltimore. Now, I'm not saying that Baltimore is exactly like this movie. I'm just saying, yeah, it's pretty close. Sure, like every city, they have some places that are decent, but overall, Baltimore is like not fit for human consumption. I mean, right now, I think more people spring holes in this city than any other city in the US. The population loss of Baltimore in 2024 was 13,400. Number 5, San Francisco, California. The city by the bay. Now a place where your rent is higher than your blood pressure after climbing those hills. With over 15,000 people saying nope. It seems like the housing crisis, rampant gentrification, and whatever else is happening on Market Street has finally caught up with this beautiful city. Even the tech bros are leaving. Which begs the question, what's going to disrupt things now? They're doing, I'd say, a decent job with the homeless. Right now, they're, getting a lot of them off the street, wherever they're going, who knows? Not getting into that on this video. It's just they got fewer and fewer. Now, not enough to really help that's not enough to blame their population drop on. I'm talking, they probably had 6,000 on the street, seems like, and now they got 5,000. So I'm not trying to say San Francisco has fixed all its problems. It's got a truckload of problems. In 2024, the population loss was 15,800 people. Number 4, Chicago, Illinois. The Windy City is blowing people out, literally and figuratively. With a loss of over 17,000 residents, Chicago is now home to fewer deep dish pizza loyalists. Maybe it's the taxes, the winters that feel like they were designed by a sadistic ice queen, or the traffic on the Dan Ryan Expressway. Whatever it is, folks are trading in their Cubs caps for cowboy hats and heading south. Now, I'm sure many of you think that the crime is the main reason people are leaving Chicago. I'm sure some do, but most people that live there understand that a majority of the crime is in a few areas. And, 90% of the city doesn't live in those areas and they try not to go to those areas. So it's really a non-issue for a lot of people in Chicago. Now, as the homeless population has grown, that's become a bit of a problem. This is a city that could seriously benefit from losing a couple million people. Chicago is one of those cities that during hard times in this nation's history, the Depression, different recessions, where people from the South would head there looking for work. Yeah, for all those that think that everyone's just coming from California to ruin your state and you don't know, a lot of different times in this country's history, people from the Midwest and the South have headed to places like Chicago, even though Chicago's in the Midwest, you know what I mean, and California and, places that are now heading to states like Texas. That door swings both ways and it just depends on what's going on in the country. Chicago's population dropped about 17,100 people in 2024. Number 3, Los Angeles. Yes, I'm one of those people that left Los Angeles, well, the Los Angeles metro area. I left that area in 2010. And I'm one of many. Hollywood, palm trees, endless sunshine. What's not to love? Apparently a lot. Over 20,000 residents called moving trucks or rented U-Hauls in Los Angeles in 2024. LA's glitter's looking a little tarnished these days between the smog, which, yes, is better than it was in the 70s and 80s, the rent, and try and survive waiters that overact at every opportunity. Oh my God. You go to Los Angeles, nice restaurant, talk to the waiter, waitress, whatever, food server, and I promise you 9 out of 10 of them are also actors or comedians or musicians. And a lot of those people leaving are the ones that tried the acting and waitressing or waitering for a number of years and gave up, and now they're heading back to Indiana or, Alabama. These are the people that realize La La Land might just be an elaborate fever dream. Over the last couple of years, I've noticed a lot of influencers, on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, are leaving Los Angeles. A lot of them go down there to work on their career. They're influencers, they got a good following, and they also had dreams of being an actor or an actress. It's not as much of a thing as it used to be, but a lot of people came to Southern California, especially Los Angeles, with, this thought that the streets were just paved with gold and opportunity. After a few years of dreaming you're going to be discovered while buying a soda at a food truck and realizing the only auditions you're getting are for low-budget sci-fi movies that are also borderline adult films, you pack up and you head back to wherever you came from. In 2024, Los Angeles lost 20,500 residents. Number 2, Memphis, Tennessee. The home of Elvis and barbecue is singing the blues as its population continues to decline. High crime rates, struggling schools, and limited job opportunities have residents packing up their bags and saying goodbye to the king. Memphis' charm is its music, food, and cultural history. That's all undeniable. But when day-to-day feels like a constant struggle, even the best ribs in the world can't convince people to stay. The city needs a serious reboot to stop the bleeding. But hey, at least Graceland's not going anywhere, right? Memphis is another one of those cities that always seems to show up on the highest murder rate. Always in the top 5. I know a couple years ago they were number 1, and they were leading the country with people attacked by machetes. That was a little weird. Memphis saw a population loss of 21,000 residents in 2024. And number 1, New York City. New York City breaks all the records for population growth that there is. They started tracking population in this city back in 1712. That was their first census, where they gained about 1,000 people. This city has seen double-digit growth every single year from 1712 till 1960, where they had their first loss of 1.4%. That's 200 years of double-digit growth. In the 1980s, they lost 10%, and that's it until now. I mean, they've only had 2 census where they actually lost people. In 2020, the entire population of New York City was about 8.8 million residents. Right now, it's about 8.2. In 2023, it was 8.25, which means they've lost around 500,000 residents since 2020 to the end of 2023. Well, in 2024, they've lost a whopping 30,000 plus. The Big Apple is looking more like the Big Exodus. New York City takes the crown for the city that is most likely to be seen in a rearview mirror. Blame the rents, the rats, or the sheer audacity of Times Square. Oh my God, I was in Times Square in September. The absolute worst experience I've had traveling in I don't know how long. It literally sucked. Everyone's running a scam. Everyone's trying to get money out of you. Under no circumstance give anyone that's like working with the character people, they dress up like Elmo or Minnie Mouse, don't let another one of those characters hold your phone while they take a picture with one of the other characters. They won't give it back till you give them some money. But people are realizing they don't need to pay $5,000 a month for a studio apartment that doubles as a broom closet. Somewhere landlords are shedding tears as they see the numbers drop, because this means in a few years, they're not going to be able to charge that $5,000 for a studio apartment. The first phase is people won't need as many roommates just to survive there. They might actually be able to enjoy a studio apartment on their own. As more apartments open up, they're going to have to drop prices to lure people in. Hasn't really started yet. Give it a few years. So sometimes losing population is a good thing. And I think New York City is another one of those cities that really needs to lose some people. Oh, another word of warning. When you get off a cruise there's all these dudes standing with tablets that say Uber. They're not Uber. They just hold a tablet saying Uber. And they'll tell you they are an Uber, and they'll tell you just to wait right here. They're going to bring the car. Well, they're running a scam. The dude told us it would be about $175 to go to JFK Airport. Honestly, that's about typical after a cruise day. So I was like, okay, we could do that. As he jogged about 200 yards to get his car, I'm watching him. My wife goes, you know, he said 175 each, right? No way. Did he really? So yeah, he said 175 each. So I'm all, let's go. So we just left where he was going to pick us up and went across the street, got a cab, cost 125 for both of us. When you got an Uber guy holding a sign that says, oh, don't worry about the app. He's not working for Uber. In 2024, New York City lost 31,000 residents. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day. Be nice to each other.